master for learning the ports and things like that. So you don't need any other tool. Nmap, the way to learn is, again, YouTube, or you can just go minus help, I think, or just do an Nmap and then press enter. You can get all the different options. Don't get scared. There are a lot of things. You don't have to know everything, right? I mean, you start slowly. Like I said, one is the default scan. So when I do Nmap, we did the version scan. What does it do? I mean, does it do all ports or does it do default ports? What do you think?
Open.
So Nmap, when you just don't give any options, how many ports are there in any system? Can anyone tell me that? 35, exactly. So I think Dave gets the, so there are 65,535 ports in a system, or I mean, it can be open in a system, right? So when Nmap runs for speed results, it just does only like 10,000 ports or so. I mean, less than that in fact. But if you want to do all the ports, you have to give this option. So if you do that, it's going to probe all the thing. You'll be surprised, in the previous scan, you didn't see this 5, you see this 57,000, you didn't see those open ports. Because I mentioned that range, it did find the ports. Again, if you do SV, it's going to take a lot more time, but malware can be sitting. Malware usually runs in the high order ports. It's not always the rule, but because most of the system administrators, when they run the tools, they run the default scan. Default scans won't find, if a malware is running on these high order ports, your scanner is going to miss it. Even Nessus, unless you specify for it to scan for all ports, you're going to miss these issues. And malware, that's where it runs. It runs on a very high order port, which no one even detects out there. So you may want, if you want to be thorough, you want to run for full port scan on all the systems, right? So let's.
But is it advisable to run on a network, like
no.
even a subnet?
No, you don't want to. You have to be very careful.
Because each IP address,
it takes a second, exactly.
65,000.
You're right. So
you may want to.
Definitely. So it's not advisable, or don't go tell your company, hey, we have to run Nmap on all ports. Raj said something like that in the thing. Because what does it do when you do this scan? What is happening under the hoods? What is it?
CPU usage.
CPU usage on that, and what is the main important? I don't care about your system.
Sending out ping.
You're sending traffic through the network, and it's going to do DOS, or legitimate users may not be able to use the service. And I'm culprit of that too. I've brought down many company networks because of scanning like that.
Did they know that was you?
They come after, if a pen tester is there on site doing some testing, anything that goes wrong on the company is always blamed on the customer, right? PCI, I mean, it's always the first thing. Hey, that guy was doing, that company is doing pen testing, blame everything on him, right? Because network, I mean, administrators, they deploy something. I mean, they don't realize those things. I mean, I want to agree because we do cause traffic, but that is understood because we tell them, we get the approval beforehand.
Get the approval, yeah.
Yes, we get the approval. And we try to scan slowly. I mean, first we do, how do we find open ports? For example, you can do a ping scan too. So what do you do to find an open thing? You do a ping, right? So you can do it like this. So we have been doing only one system at a time now, right? So you can do like this. Yeah. What is /24 mean? Anyone know? So I'm doing, so far, I mean, it's in the bottom there. So far we did one IP address. So if I do something like this, ping scan is quick. So I will know what are the live systems in my network. So far I have how many systems? 254, 140.2.1, 5 systems live on my network. That's how you find out how many systems are live in a subnet, right? And then you try to port scan each and every system, right? You can, I showed you port scanning for one IP, but you can port scan for a whole subnet. So you will find all IPs, all ports that are listening on each system, and all the version numbers. So you get all the details you do. That's what Nessus does. So Nmap, it's more hands-on approach. I told you like that, this version number is what? Version number is 234. What Nessus does is it does this, and it also takes this results, and it finds out if there's any vulnerabilities for that particular version, and it comes and tells you the results. Like I said, during lunch, I'll restart my mission. I'll show you how a Nessus results look like. It makes finding issues a little bit easier for us. But again, to find more advanced attacks, you need to do manual pen testing.
Can you actually pipe this, Raj, the output from Nmap?
Exactly. Okay, I'll show you that.
On the fly, and have a tool.
You can do that. You can create cool tools all you want, but that's a good question. I mean, what I do is, for example, we did this, right? We did this, and let me do, it may take a couple of minutes, but let's do that anyway. So I'm going to scan, instead of P scan, I'm just going to do default. I'm going to do the scan, and I'm going to do an option, output format, OA, which is the output format. I'm going to say output, just output, okay? So it's going to store all the results in this output, okay? So give it a minute. When you do this minus OA option, it creates 3 files. I think it's already done. So let me do a list. So you see this output?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see this output. So it creates what? 3 files. One is an XML output, which you said. One is a Gmap, one is an Nmap. So you can take this XML, I'll just cat that out. Cat is just like a notepad, you can open the file. So it is just, it tells you what ports are open. I mean, if you know XML, you can easily parse this and feed it to Nessus if you want to.
I did not know that.
Oh, you can do that.
Store
You
it
can
in
do that. You
Excel
can do
file.
all things. You can your next Nessus has command line parameters. Nessus is GUI thing.
Oh, the Nessus, not the Nmap.
What is it?
Nmap, that the Nmap has it, or you're using Nest inside?
You can, I'm saying you can use a tool to
Right.
pipe this to Nessus, and you can call Nessus. You can find the open ports
Right.
and feed it to Nessus, and Nessus will run automatically. You can automate the process.
This is from Nmap.
This is from Nmap.
So Nmap itself has it. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there is a wrapper around it. Somebody wrote a wrapper.
No,
It's
Nessus
just
is Nmap runs with the different options. So, and then the other options looks like So the other one is like, these are different formats, so you can use whichever is. I like the Gnmap format. It looks like this. So you can see everything is in one line, so one host, and it shows you all the open ports in that thing. So it is used for parsing, and you can easily find what ports are running and things like that. So what I do when I'm doing testing is I run Nmap, because Nmap is faster than Nessus, and I use a tool called, for example, I'll do this. I'll show you what I did. Okay, I pipe it to, I mean, if you're not familiar with Linux, just bear with me. I can just use some Linux tricks. So this gives me the live open IPs. I'm parsing the result file, and this tells me all the IPs that are live. That is one thing. And if I want to know the, I can also find the ports this way. So once I know the ports, I take the ports and I take the live IPs, then I configure Nessus and I let it run. Because Nessus, you don't want to run with all ports. Nmap is a little faster, so you want to use Nmap to find all the open ports and then use the open ports to feed it to Nessus and run the Nessus. And like I said, I'll show you Nessus how it looks for people who have never seen it. It's a nice tool. You may want to talk your company to buying that tool. I mean, it's cheap. You can just live with one license to scan your network.
I think that clarifies what you told just now.
Yeah.
Nmap and Nessus.
Yeah, that's, I mean, not many people do that. I do it that way because it's more easier. Because I like Nmap, it's scriptable. You can. I have my own Python tools. How many of you know Python scripting or Ruby scripting or PowerShell? Any scripting for you? Little bit. I mean, if you're a developer, you can create it. It's very simple. Python is the wonderful language. It's easy to learn. It's even your kids can learn. I would recommend Python if you're planning to learn something, because Python can be used in Linux, Windows, Mac. And the embedded device programming, you can create two toys with Arduino, Raspberry Pi, all those things. Python works everywhere. And even for Android phones, it will work. So it's if you want to get most bang for the buck, if you want to spend more time, and that's where most of the hacking tools were created, using Python. And I'm going to show you one more tool. Okay, now let's start for one. This is the first tool I wanted to show you, Nmap. So I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Nmap is very powerful. You can find services, you can find operating system. There are different switches you can use, and you can master this tool. With this tool, you can understand your environment. What IPs are there, what ports are running. So it's one tool. Just go to YouTube, find out different options, just get used to it. I mean, you can learn this in a day, easily, without even knowing anything. It's basically what ports are running. Run this in your home network. I mean, I'm sure your home network has 10.10. something or 192.160 or something. Just dots star. You can do instead of 24, just do this. If you do this in your home system, you'll be amazed how many systems you have running in your home. I have like 32 devices running on my home, which I didn't even know, including my kids' iPads, my iPad, my TV. my cable TVs, my internet, my alarm systems, everything is connected to the Wi-Fi networks, right? If you scan your network, you will be surprised to see how many networks, you'll be shocked. How many of you are complaining that your Wi-Fi is slow in your home? No matter you have 100 megabytes download or whatever, you're still complaining it's slow. Because everything in your home, the first thing your friends come in home, they connect to your Wi-Fi network. So everything it's a kind of thing. If you're advanced, you can subnet those things and make sure you give them a little bandwidth. That's what I do in my home, right? There is a tool called pfSense. How many of you heard of pfSense? Anyone? It's an, let me see if I can get there. It's an awesome tool. It's pretty easy to, this is not for the faint of heart, but if you're already doing net firewall and stuff, it's pretty simple to configure. It's an open source. It's a software-based firewall. You can download it, install on one of the systems, and you can create different networks with this tool. It's cool because all my systems are on one network. I don't want my kids or my wife to come into my network. No one can come into mine because I'm a security person. I want my home system to be secure. So mine is a secure network. I have another network for just hacking purposes. Another network for malware. So the malware, everything stays in that network. So it cannot come outside that sandbox. So I create different networks based on this tool. And there are appliances you can buy on eBay for $300 if you don't know how to do it. But it's something you can use for your home network too. Okay, so let's go again, and we were doing 140. I want to go the step. So this is very important. So once you port scan, you find the services that are running the next step. I'm going to show the second important tool called Metasploit. That is the awesome tool, right? It's a framework. Actually, let me go through the slides first. So we checked at open ports, we saw services, we saw some output formats like Dave was asking. You can script the tool if you know scripting, batch scripting, anything. You can parse the results, you can do cool things for your company too. Okay, this is one thing I want to show before thing. Okay, bind shell and reverse shell. That is a very key concept. So, people won't be talking about in these things in a lecture like this because these are advanced concepts. Again, it's simple, but it's kind of advanced. Everything in hacking relates to these two things I'm talking about. So just pay attention if you're interested in this thing. Any hacking that happens, it's based on these two concepts. So please ask questions if you don't understand after I explain. But I think I'll also show you a demo how it works. So anyone know what's a bind shell? That's good because if you don't know, so how do you connect to services? Let's say you go to google.com, facebook.com. So what is Facebook? Where is Facebook? It's running in some server, right? Yeah. Some service, right? And you are a client. You're trying to talk to Facebook, right? So what does Facebook have to do for you to connect? What is Facebook doing? It has to listen on a port. Yeah. There is some port running on that system. It's typically what port is it? Do you know? 443. It's the port number 443, right? Let's see if I can.
Secure port. You're talking about HTTPS.
For example, let's take tell me any site which we can. People won't come, like not Google and Amazon. We don't want them to come after us. Tell me. Okay. Let me go to.
Use this company. They're running it.
Okay, they have a hacker. So what's your company name? Website?
Business Intelligence Solutions. I don't know where they're hosting, but
that's fine. I don't think it matters. Does it have a short address?
Domain name?
Yeah, businessintelli.com.
Is it like this? Can you see from there?
Right here. Can you see it?
Business and then INTELLI.com.
Two L's, yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to see what Business Intel is running, right? So the point is that is running on a port, okay? And that is how your browser is connecting to the port. So in order for us to connect to something out there, it has to be listening on some port. So you see that here? It has, right sitting here, we have the power of finding what any system in the world is talking to. You can do this on any system. But again, don't do it. They're doing a good job. I think, are you hosted services?
Yes.
Okay, so because the hosted service is smart. They don't tell you what services are running. The TCP wrap tells you it is some services wrapping those calls. I don't know what they're running, using Apache or IIS, I don't know, or Nginx. I don't know what they're running. It's wrapped. which is good because this is what we recommend to our clients. All these hosting providers, they're smart, they learn from their mistakes, right? So all I know is they're running what? They're running an SSH. So anyone, I'm sitting here, I can trying to copy there. I know there's an SSH. What is the client you can use to connect to SSH? It's a SSH client, right? And Linux systems come with the client automatically. You see that? The thing?
Yes.
It's asking for the thing, accepting my certificate. Okay, so it's asking for the password. So let's say if I somehow, a social engineer found that, from here, I can log on to the servers. I can grab all the files from here. So it is a little bit of using Nmap tools, sitting here, anyone from China, India, Russia, anywhere, I mean, they can hack into systems. I mean, you may ask, you may not know the password. People use brute force attacks. If they know the employee names, a company name, they will try like business Italy 1 or 2 or tilde, or I mean the company employee names. They try different things. I mean, smart companies will lock the account after bad attempts, but most companies don't do that because hackers. Let's say you lock after 3 attempts. What can the hackers do? Let's say you all can log on to the service, each one have the account. But let me, if I tell you like I lock your account after 3 bad attempts from external, what's going to happen?
Try and reset.
What is that?
I'll try and reset.
No, the hackers know that, so they can always just brute force 4 times on each of the account. Everyone will be locked up, and then you have to call the customer service, reset. They can keep doing it. That's why most companies they don't try to lock these accounts of the thing. What they do is what's the approach strategy they can use? Suspend the account for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. If you do that, it's impossible. Like it takes few years to brute force anything, right? So you want to do some kind of strategy like that, or solution. Lock them for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, something like that. But it will unlock after 30 minutes. So that way you cannot automate the process to do that. So where are we going? So okay. So the point of the matter is we were thinking about bind shell. So I proved you that for any web servers running there or any SSH servers, there's a port listening. So bind shell is nothing but you as a client, which is the browser, trying to connect to the server. So there's a server listening on a port and then you're connecting that. So if I'm as an attacker, if you make any system listen on any port you want, so what can you do? You can connect to the port anytime you want to, right? So let's say I use port 4444. Let's say I hack into your networks. I run a program or a malware which is listening on a port 4444. So anytime at will, I can connect to the port 44. Just like 443 or 22 which I showed you, I can connect to the port whenever I want to, right? So that is the main goal of any hacker. So that's how they can connect to any systems, right? That is a bind shell. I'll show you an example what a bind shell is, another tool, which is similar to what we showed, but that is the bind shell concept. So what is reverse shell then? Based on the name, can anyone tell me what is a reverse shell? So
After you connect, you can come back to your server.
the bind shell is you are trying to connect to the server. For example, Facebook is running on a port. So you as a client, your browser is connecting to 443. So you are connecting. Reverse shell is Facebook connecting to you. Think of it that way, okay? But Facebook is not going to connect to that. But for example, a malware will try to connect to the packet box so they can send data. So that is a reverse shell.
So that's what is used
after you install your software.
Exactly. Whatever the malware tool you install in the client system.
That's right.
This is what is mainly used by most malware. Why? Can you tell me based on just think for a minute and tell me why this is very critical.
I think it's because of how they do the call home. If they're
Why do they do call home? Why is it's important for any hacker? I mean, for a public hacker, who is sitting in the underground world, why is this reverse shell important than a bind shell?
I think you can sit there very unnoticed.
No, why not bind shell?
Because you're in control of the session of it completing, right? You're asking and versus they're now coming to you, right?
That's right. So one main thing I'll tell you, because when we scanned the business internally, what ports did we see? 22, 443, 480, right? Those are the ports we saw. So when you're trying to connect, what does firewalls do? They block all the ports going from outside to inside. But coming from inside to outside, most ports are not, they don't have an egress, they call it egress filtering or outbound filtering. PCI, wants you to monitor both, right? So most companies, they don't do outbound filtering, right? So it's even if you have a port listening on 4444, your firewall is going to block it. So you cannot, from any outside internet, you cannot connect to inside port. You can use port 22, port 443, but that is already running some service. You cannot use those ports, and they block every other port. So when you do the reverse shell, you make the tool talk to you. So when they install a malware, they make sure that they call back home, like you said, right, to attack a system. So that is important concept. Any hacking tool you see, it's trying to do one of these two. So when is bind shell useful then? For internal pen testing. Because when you're internal in the system, I can easily connect to a port because there's no firewall in between. We are the same network, right? So I can easily open a port, I can connect to it because we are all there, right here. For example, you're all connected to my Wi-Fi, right? I don't know, is anyone connected to the Wi-Fi? Yes. Let's, I think I'm connected too. You was a minute back?
No, actually it dropped.
Yeah, it's kind of very, yeah, but anyway, so the point is, if you're connected to this Wi-Fi network, there is no firewall blocking us. So I can use a bind shell. If I find a vulnerability of any of the systems, if I try to hack in, I can create a shell, I can connect directly to you. I don't have to do the callback. So the reverse shell is used for an external case, where you try to call back your home system. So it's very clear, this is, yeah.
When you run an nmap in the cloud, let's say public cloud like Amazon or...
Yeah, you can, but it's...
How do they block you? Because they have a WAF or something for each user or each...
Outbound, they don't block you, right? You can scan, if you install a system, and then you try to use nmap to scan other systems, they block you. But again, if you use Amazon, you have to fill up a form telling that you're going to be doing that. Otherwise, they will cancel your service.
Clear your intent.
Yeah, you have to fill a form, that one, and also you need to tell that, like, for example, we do that. If you scan any system that is located in AWS, you need to get approved from the client and from AWS saying it is okay to scan.
Yeah.
Because they will spot it right away. Because they'll see a lot of traffic going back and forth, they'll chop you right away. They'll cancel your agreement with them.
Yeah, they have forms.
Yeah, do not, what is that?
I'm saying, like, if you have AWS instance,
Exactly.
you have to give them heads up.
Exactly. You have to give the instance. Even Google is the same way.
Exact instances you're scanning. So
Exactly. You have to give. They're not very strict, but if you scan like 10, like more than 100 IPs, they will just detect you right away. And then they'll send you notices saying, hey, you're scanning networks, which is not, because they are liable too. Though it's your instances, they have to block you. Yeah, that's why do not scan anything. Any system which you don't have control, do not scan. It's very, very risky out there. So any questions about this bind shell, reverse shell? Like I said, any tool, any hacker creates, it is for one of these two purposes, to get a shell into the system, right? They call it the shell because I told you the first slide, you need to be comfortable with a command line. So they want to get some kind of a system command line access so that they can live. Once you have command, you can create users. You can write tools, or you can download files with the command line. So this bind and reverse, is that very clear? Bind and reverse shell. That is very key to anything we do today. Okay, let me do a quick demo on that. Start this instance. Hope I have RAM to support this. So one more thing, this Kali Linux. So if you go to, again, don't worry about this. If you're not familiar with Linux, don't worry about that. Okay, you see this here? There's a tool called nc. Can you guys see this nc thing? Anyone heard about Netcat here? Who did? You did? Netcat will be available on more Linux systems. You'll be surprised because it's called the Swiss Army knife of hackers. But there are more advanced version of Netcat. But this is the basic version. This is not encrypted, but you have more encrypted versions of Netcat. I think I already have this file. Let me see. I copied this file you see here onto my Windows box, and I think it's there. So this Windows 7 system is also on the same network as the Kali box, right? Can you all see, or is it too small? I think this is too small. Let me try to.
Properties.
Oh, yeah. Is it good? Hope it's there. Okay, it's not there. So anyway, let's see. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this nc.exe to my. Say Linux already comes with nc, so it already has the tool. But I need this tool on the Windows system just to demo the thing. So I'm going to go try to copy the file. So I'm just going to navigate to that user. Okay, so that's the same file. Okay, I'm going to copy it, and sometimes it won't let me paste it. Let's see. Okay, it's not letting me paste. Okay, I'm going to do one thing. I'll show you another cool trick. So I'm going to use Python. Python sets up. So Python sets up a small web server on that particular folder. So I'm going to just browse to the site. So I forget that. I think it is 139. And I think it's listening on port 8000. Okay, so you see that files? There's netcat. So I'm going to that particular system and trying to download. I mean, just copy files back and forth. So yeah, Chrome is back. Yeah, there are ways to bypass those things easily, but I don't want to make it too complicated. But assume that it can be easily bypassed. Any antivirus solution.
Raj?
Yeah.
I know of an incident that I saw somewhere. So somebody from China had a customer account in India database, and from that they went and what they did was, this is an Oracle Cloud. They hacked from there the queues, which is used by, which is a multi-tenant. So the entire JMS queue server was brought down. So because of that, it got so much corrupted. The whole messaging system for all the customers went down for almost 2 days. So to fix that, it took them almost a week.
Yeah.
It was a major disaster. So is this something that the example based on what you told us? So they did the reverse tunnel and then...
All I'm saying is that is the main concept, right? Any tool, because they want to be on your system somehow, right? So reverse shell is one way. So they kind of put something on a system So that will call back occasionally, like every 5 minutes or 1 hour. It depends on what they do. I can code that in like 1 day. Any sophistication you want. That will be undetected by any antivirus. Oh man.
So,
Are you okay?
jail that.
Do you want to rename the extension?
Yes, I can do that. I think just the Chrome was detecting that.
Yeah.
And also my system, like I said, my RAM is.
The chairman had a Wi-Fi.
Okay, so it let me download here. It's just slow. Okay, I was able to copy it. So let me copy it here too.